Hello everyone, and welcome to my roundup of Bethesda E3. And it's gonna be a weird one? Yeah, let's go with a weird one. It's like 4 AM in the morning. I've just finished watching the conference, taken down notes, and kind of taken a few minutes to absorb it all. 'Cause man, was it odd. Odd is the word we're gonna go for. So I'm going to be going through it in the order it kind of all showed up. Just because that's honest, I honestly don't know how to go through this, so that seemed like the only way. So to start off, something nice to see, they did like a whole, the community matters to us, and they acknowledged some mistakes. Kato, in fact, actually transcribed down part of what Todd said. Todd acknowledged 76's failings. We have had an incredibly exciting year at Bethesda Game Studios. Given some of that excitement, impressed you're still here. It's all of you who have made these worlds what they are. Take Fallout 76, a type of game we've never done before, had a lot of difficulties at launch, and we got a lot of well-deserved criticism. That's like a good thing to see, them acknowledging the mistakes and all of that. They also talk about the fact the community is really cool. He said, "They don't go on killing griefing sprees. They leave food and water for the newbies and wave to each other. This should all give us hope for humanity when the apocalypse does come." Which is, pretty cool. It's nice to see that they pay attention to what the community's doing in the game. That's good. We'll come back to that later, because after the initial just kind of welcome and hey, the community's really cool, we appreciate that, they moved on to Elder Scrolls Blades, a game which has a bit of controversy around it, but what's a surprise there? The only real announcement was that Blades is going to be on Switch, something which might have been announced before. I'm not really following it, I'm afraid. I do not own a Nintendo Switch or a smartphone, so I don't even get a chance to play Blades, so it's kind of passed me by. But if you have a smartphone or a Nintendo Switch, then you're going to be able to try out Blades for yourself and see if it's as bad as people say when it comes to the whole paying for everything constantly, or if there is some enjoyment to be got from it. Now next up was Fallout 76, which I'm sure most of you watching this will be interested in, seeing as it's what my channel is mostly based around. And the first thing they showed us was Wastelanders, which is coming in autumn, so at the end of the year, probably close to the time when 76 released, we'll get Wastelanders, a huge new update, which brings a lot of stuff with it. And the big thing it brings is NPCs, human NPCs with speech trees that you'll go through, dialogue choices, and factions, and man, if you love like the older Fallout games, then this is the update which you're going to be so hyped for. It looks so damn cool. Literally, just that one text box which showed you a charisma check, a perception check, a standard thing, and the lead dialogue. That's all you need to get people hyped. If the conference had just been that one still image, people would have been so happy. That's all that was needed. And the Wastelanders update looks really cool, as well as it bringing NPCs into the game. It's got more of a focus around rebuilding. They said the year one content was kind of, oh, the Wasteland's this horrible place, look at all this stuff that's happened. Year two, people have come back, they're trying to repopulate, rebuild, get everything working again. So you've got factions coming in, there seems to be a sort of Minutemen-like friendly faction who's all like, oh, hello neighbour, we'll help you fight, and a raider faction which was showed off, which, unlike normal raiders, was just a case of you've got to beat the Wasteland before it beats you. And Raiders in Fallout 76, just the lore behind them in general, is much more sympathetic than it has been in pretty much any other game, which is cool to see. So there's a lot of that. We saw one new enemy, a weird... I don't even know how to describe it. It's a weird monstrosity. You'll see it on the screen at some point. It's just horrible, kind of. But, yeah, we also saw big, rebuilding. The whole Crash Satellite, that had a whole rebuild. So it looks like there might be some changes to maps, or possibly larger workshops and stuff that can be done. Don't really know too much, because we're just seeing stuff. We saw a bow. I'm pretty hyped about that. It's a very small detail, but that's cool. And we also saw gold skimming, which is just like, okay, there's some very small minor stuff being added, along with the fact that there's going to be human NPCs and factions, and that's a huge, amazing thing, which anyone who's a fan of the RPG side of things was super happy with that. So they then follow that up with Nuclear Winter, which is coming very soon, and it's a battle royale. Yeah, so I've been live streaming recently, and people were asking me, oh, what about the rumours about a battle royale? And I was like, Well, it's not confirmed to be a Battle Royale. I don't think that would be a smart move, because there'd be quite a large backlash to it. And it's not necessarily guaranteed. I'd seen the files, I was like, oh, it could be something else, but maybe not. I like Battle Royales, but it's probably not the smartest move. They've done it. Nuclear Winter is a 52-player PvP Battle Royale, but it does look different from other Battle Royales. I will give it that. It looks fairly unique. There's PvE elements, so you're still fighting creatures, and the creatures drop loot, which you then use. For people who don't know, Battle Royales is just be the last person left alive. That's basically the whole thing of it. You start with no gear, no advantage or anything, everyone's on an even playing field at the beginning, you pick up gear as you go and try and survive. In this Battle Royale you can build your camp, which is a bit odd. You've got nukes you can fire, and then you've got equipment you're supposed to find, and the enemies, and there's a firestorm coming in. I wonder what other Battle Royale had a firestorm closing in on it. Nothing springs to mind. Okay, I've got to try and get a good guy on for a collaboration to talk about this once I've played Nuclear Winter, because this is kind of ridiculous. So yeah, this is all to do with Vault 51. There's a Zax computer there, which is trying to work out who should be the Overseer, and is doing a last person left standing event to sort it all out. So it looks like there's going to be interesting lore. Apparently there's some rewards with it and weird character progression. We haven't seen too much, but we won't have long to wait before it's out. And quite frankly, I'm going to need to do multiple videos just on Nuclear Winter, I think, because there is so much to go over, and once the thing's actually out, then there'll be so much to do. This could go well, and there's part of my brain which just freaking loves what Bethesda's done here. Because they've done, okay, there's the really RPG side of things, where people want these skill checks, want to have meaningful choices with consequences with NPCs and have a world like that. That's on one end. Then you've got Battle Royales, which is a huge genre. People love first-person shooters and just being competitive and all of that. These are two sides. Let's do both of them. It's crazy. It's crazy. Bethesda, what are you doing? You're doing it in the same game. It's bonkers. I don't know what's happening. We'll point out Nuclear Winter is kind of its own mode, so this isn't like the game is going away. Nuclear Winter is just something else you can play. If you don't want to play it, you don't have to. You can still play standard Fallout 76, so that is good. One last thing about Fallout 76 is that if you don't happen to have it, it's going to be free to play for a week, just for a week. I know there were rumours of like, oh, Fallout 76 is going free to play permanently. Nope, between June 10th, which will be today actually, through to June 17th, all of Fallout 76 is free to play across all the platforms. And it says that it includes an exclusive sneak peek of Nuclear Winter. So I'm thinking there might be a small beta period where Nuclear Winter shows up for just this week, and then it goes away for a while, they do some tweaking of it, and then it will come back at a later date. But we'll kind of have to wait and see for that. Alright, that is the Fallout 76 stuff done and out the way. I will say overall, for me personally, it looks quite good, because I make content on this game, and we've got stuff polarising on both sides, which for me is, I suppose, technically perfect, because there's things people will hate and things people will love. If it was all just stuff people were like, oh yeah, this is kind of nice, I'd get like middling to average views. From a purely selfish point, I suppose I should be grateful, because I'm going to get angry people viewing all the Nuclear Winter stuff, and really happy people viewing all the Wastelanders stuff. Oh, it's crazy. Okay, next up though, we got, after that, Ghostwire, which is a game by the Evil Within developers, and it's an occult action-adventure in Tokyo. And yes, this might seem that I just kind of brought that up out of nowhere. That's because the conference kind of brought it up out of nowhere. They just brought in some people, it was all Ohayou gozaimasu, and then we were just into the game, and it was like, oh, here's a little trailer for it, here's this thing. You go around trying to work out what's occult and what's going on, and it looks like everyone's been raptured, and no idea. At this point, I'd like to say that all of the trailers and footage I'll be showing, they're on the Bethesda Softworks YouTube channel. Do go and take a look and watch any of the trailers that you're interested in, even watch the ones you don't. And I'd also recommend actually taking a quick look at the like-to-dislike ratios on all of the trailers, because it varies so much between them. As you can imagine, Wastelanders is like, at the time I recorded, was like 95% like or something. Nuclear Winter was like 75% dislike. It's just mental. It's so crazy. Anyway, Ghostwire Tokyo looks kind of cool, but really don't know that much about it. It's a new game, might be for you, just mentioning it briefly here. Something else I'll mention relatively briefly is Elder Scrolls Online. They talked about Elsewhere, they talked about dragons now being in the game, they talked about the new Necromancer class. I don't play ESO, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. Something else they did was talked about lore in a real deep cuts kind of way. They talked about the Dragon Guard, who I've not heard of before. Now I should point out I've played Skyrim like really extensively, and I've played a relatively decent chunk of Oblivion and a tiny bit of Morrowind. I also know a fair bit of lore because I've watched a lot of the stuff. I had years where I was not obsessed with Elder Scrolls, but heavily interested in it, and I still am interested in it to this day. But I was just listening to this and all of the lore went straight over my head. Like, this is old school proper deep cut stuff. So, if you know about it, that is really cool, but I am not an authority on it, so I'm not going to talk as such. After that, they threw another curveball with Commander Keen, which was described as like a Saturday morning cartoon mobile free-to-play sci-fi adventure game. Yep, this is another one with a huge dislike rating, because it's a weird mobile game which kind of came out of nowhere, and no one really asked for, and we have no idea what's going on. I've probably spoken over all of the footage I've got for it already, because the trailer's really short as well. No idea about it. Something else which people don't seem to care for too much is Elder Scrolls Legends, which is the Elder Scrolls card game that's been out for quite a while. There was just a bit of a trailer for it. They talked about like there's new content coming which is just going to be cards and stuff. But honestly, it was just kind of a, hey, this game still exists, maybe you want to play it. But I know I personally play Magic the Gathering Arena instead, which is my game of choice. Other people have like Hearthstone or Gwent. There's just better card games out there right now, and I think all of them might be free to play, so there's not much of an incentive for too many people to play Elder Scrolls Legends, so this was just kind of a, hey, anyone want to play this? Something that a lot of people do enjoy, but is still a bit controversial, was Rage 2, and we got to see some new stuff for that. They basically said, hey, we're adding in a bunch of new stuff. Problem is, it's tricky to tell how much of the new stuff comes with the standard game and how much of it is going to be from the DLC. They showed us a new faction and, I can't remember the name, it's like Rise of Ghosts or something, which is a DLC story expansion, I believe, which is going to add a new faction to the game, new like storyline and quests and stuff. There were some sarky comments on the trailer I saw within like the first few minutes, where people were just like, oh, I hope it's got more story than the main game has, which was entertaining. But there's also going to be stuff added like new cheat codes, some new weapons, new vehicles. We saw like a pilotable mech, like you might shoot in the game and blow up, which is kind of cool. So there is some cool new stuff coming to that game. Whether or not it will convince many people to go back and play it extensively, not too sure. Something with better story and also awesome shooting is Wolfenstein, and they talked about two different games there. There was Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, which was a VR game out in July. Don't have any footage for that, we're just going to skim over it. You're a VR person in it, just shooting Nazis, it's fun. Youngblood, however, is the co-op Wolfenstein game, where you kill Nazis, coming out on July 26th. There's not really too much I can say here. You play as BJ Blazkowicz's, I can't say his name properly, apologies, daughters. There's two of them, it's co-op. You go around, you shoot Nazis, you're trying to find your dad in Paris, which is occupied by Nazis. Wolfenstein's just a really cool game series at the moment. If you like your first-person shooters with a bit of story to them, then I'd highly recommend checking the series out. Something new that was announced as well was Deathloop, which is a game. That much I can say for certain. It's from Arcane Leon, and it messes around with time. There's time loop with killing. I mean, you're really just going to have to watch the trailer for this. It wasn't explained too well, but it seems you're reliving the same day where you and another person are trying to kill each other. One of you is trying to get out of a loop and is killing the other person to do that, and one of you is trying to stay in the loop and is killing the other person to do that. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it kind of looks awesome, and I'm hyped to see more. Sadly, it was a new game just kind of announced. they've given us like this little tease of it, and not really given us much solid information. Like, we don't even know what the game type is, I suppose. They were just like, oh hey, this is really cool and innovative and different from anything we've done before. And they didn't fully explain what it is. But it looks cool, so we'll see. They also talked about Orion, a game streaming technology, which is all technical and kind of boring. So we'll skip over that and go on to the last bit, which is Doom Eternal, which they rounded off with. And there's both single player and multiplayer shown off for it. The multiplayer was like two big, nasty, gribbly monsters, demons, fighting against a slayer. The demons appear to be more of a strategy-based thing, where you're trying to summon different like minions and grunts and other demons to beat the slayer, and the slayer is just like, can I shoot enough demons, like you would in the single player. Speaking of the single player, it looks like you're travelling all over the universe, which is kind of cool, and you're also going to heaven and hell, because apparently just killing demons isn't enough for the slayer, he needs to kill some angels as well. Because why not? And that was pretty much it for Bethesda E3. So that was like a 15-16 minute roundup of just an utterly crazy kind of E3, and man, Kato and I are going to record the Pipcast tomorrow, and it's going to be really weird. I will say some stuff outside of Bethesda's conference. Well, honestly, there's only one thing to talk about. Keanu Reeves is coming to Cyberpunk 2077, and he was on stage and told someone they're beautiful. It was golden, like, that is the highlight of E3. No matter what else happens, that is the highlight of E3, and possibly the highlight of gaming this year. It's pretty damn awesome. If you haven't already, go find the clip, it's cool.
The feeling of being there, of walking the streets of the future, is really going to be breathtaking. You're breathtaking! You're breathtaking! You're all breathtaking! All right.
Anyway, that is going to be it for this video. I've got so much more work I need to get on with. Do make sure to check out as well my video on the new Borderlands 2 DLC, which is currently free. So if you have Borderlands 2, go and grab that. It's the Fight for Sanctuary, Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary. I've done a first look on it so you can see what it's like if you so wish. And yeah, that's also something that got announced on a different kind of platform on E3. There's a lot of stuff going on, as always happens with E3. Anyway, I have a ridiculous amount of work to get on with. It is 4 AM in the morning, and I don't know when I'm next going to sleep. So I hope everyone is doing good and is looking forward to at least something that occurred in the Bethesda E3 conference, and isn't too annoyed by the other stuff. Do leave, of course, your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed this little recap and appreciated the fact you don't have to watch the entire presentation to get kind of the bullet points of what happened. And subscribe for more Fallout 76 content and probably some other games in the not too distant future. As always, thank you very much for watching. Sarge out.